What is going on, fellow Walking Dead fans? This is Solid Dave Snake, continuing my reviews on the Walking Dead TV Series 7 action figures by Mcfarlane Toys. And in this review, we're going to take a look at the single zombie in this series, the Mudwalker. And this zombie is based off of the zombie from Season 4, mid-season finale, Too Far Gone. Whenever the governor was attacking the prison, right before that, the little girl that he took a liking to that reminded him of his daughter was digging by the river and lifted away that warning flood sign and uncovered a zombie that came up and attacked her. And this is that zombie. And it is a really neat zombie. It has to be on this display base, and it has two different looks. One being this diorama right here of him walking, and I will show the other later on in this video after we take a closer look at this, which we might as well do right now because he doesn't come with any more accessories. And there is a lot of detail on this zombie. And whenever he was first announced and we were seeing prototype pictures, he was just covered totally in mud, which I don't know about the way it looks now, if it really should be that way. If it was completely buried, it really should have all been brown, but whenever people saw those prototype pictures, they were making fun of it and basically saying it looked horrible and that it looked like he was a giant zombie turd pretty much, because he was just nothing but brown. But really that's how he was in the show whenever he popped up. But they did go with this overall blue color to his it looks like he's got a rain jacket on, but it is that same color blue all over. But they really made his lower legs super muddy, kind of like how that prototype was. But let me get a close in on the face here, because this is really nice. Face might be the best feature on this zombie. Just like in the show, he has those hollowed out eyes. Just a decayed face. They really did do an outstanding job weathering this figure all over. Even on the back of his rain jacket where that hood is, just covered in mud, just stuffed full. And on the spots where the mud is, it does have a very almost glossy type look. Like that mud is really wet. Especially down at the legs. And right now I have them on the display base, and I'll give you a better look at that warning flash flood area sign. And there is a little bit of color variation in there, from the original color of the sign in the middle, with that almost orange color to it, and then just totally getting muddy as it works outward. And the base does have some nice detail overall. It looks like a pile of mud he's walking through. And we never did see this character in the show, this zombie, totally out of the mud. We only saw it up to waist level, which is the second look for this figure. But before we get into that and I start breaking him down, I'm going to go over his articulation real quick. Usually I'd save that for the end, but since I'm going to break him apart, I'll go over it now. And it is weird, like most of the zombies in these Walking Dead TV series lines. He only has a swivel at the head. Well, you can get a little bit of up and down movement, but I'd be careful with this zombie. A lot of his articulation points feel weak and a little weird. But he has cuts at both shoulders, but it's tough to get it to hold. It feels like the pin in there is almost going to snap if you keep forcing it. And he has a weird cut at this elbow, which really looks off when you have it that way. It only matches up whenever you have it right there to his side. And he does have a swivel on the wrist, so you can rotate it all the way around if you want, but I don't know why you would want his hand upside down. And on this side he has the same cut there at the shoulder, and actually right here at the wrist. He does not have an elbow cut on this side. And I have to pull him off the base to show you the articulation he has down below. Might even be easier once I take him apart, but as soon as I take him off the base, you can tell that this zombie is not going to be able to be used without that base because of these pegs on the bottom of his feet that go in the holes of this display base. So this is a needed piece for this zombie to be able to be displayed in either of his poses. But continuing on to the articulation, he has cuts at both hips, so you can kick outward and back, forward and back on both sides, but it's limited to the bottom of this jacket until you remove it. And really, you don't need the legs to be able to do that once he's apart anyways. But they give it to you. And he has hinges, single hinges on both knees. But they feel weak when you push them up. And just a heads up, you will get paint wear. Let me get in real close here. You can get paint rub on these hinge pieces. There's something up with the paint on those parts of the legs. And I have the same thing on this side. So just be mindful of that. And that is it. He doesn't have anything else down below. And this foot, this back right foot, is actually cocked to the side, which looks kind of funny, but it works on the stand. So that's the articulation. Kind of weird. A lot of the zombies are. And to show you his other way to be displayed, we have to rip him in half and separate him. And this piece of the jacket is a separate piece, which is removable. And he actually has one more detail inside, which is this little gut piece that fits around the peg and also has a part of the belt that goes around too. I actually think it's supposed to be flipped around on this side because that belt buckle's there. Let me get it totally off and show you. So that's unique. If you wanted to display this in another scene as kind of a tore in half body, you really could. Just have to hide that ugly peg. But now you can see that how those cuts are on the legs now. The upper thigh there. Well, really a cut there at the crotch. So now to display the other way to put the zombie on this base, you have to take the sign out, which it has a peg on the back. It just plugs into any of those holes that are on there. And this is the piece where I took the sign off that you're going to want to plug your upper half of the mud walker into. If you see on the base, there are these 3 notches on the circle. And if you look at the zombie, there are 3 identical pieces that plug in there. And let's see, which way did I have them last time? Right here. You just plug them in. And now he sits in there like he's coming out of the mud. Which is probably the way I'm going to keep him posed. I think that's really neat. And this sign can then plug into one of these 2 holes, which this one is further away, so we'll plug it into that one. If I can get it in. Oh, and it does fall off easy, as you see, but it plugs right back in. And I'll give the sign one more shot here. There we go. Then you can have them displayed like this. Which, like I said, is probably how I'm going to keep them displayed. You could always buy a second and have them standing as well. Add them to a zombie horde. So, alright guys, that is my review of the Mudwalker. And stay tuned because I still have the Michonne from Series 7 and Carl from Series 7 coming up. So, till then, I'll see you later.